Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to the show. Because you all having a wonderful day on this 21st February 2025. You can tell we're tired. We're really, really tired. It was sunrise, but we spent the night awake. So we woke up at 1 o'clock yesterday, and right now it's 8:20. We had a beautiful sun in the background. I promised myself a last video, and in that video that I'm gonna give you guys. So it's gonna be One Piece. It'll be from episode 191 to 121. I know what you're saying. Ink, that's a lot. Is it? Is it a lot though? Is it a lot? I'm sure that we can do it together. So without further ado, if you don't mind, I'm gonna start. That way I can go to sleep. Arigatou gozaimasu. Beautiful sun. I'm excited. So we had the ending of the Drum Island, right? We have the nicest send-off so far. See, when it comes to send-off, Zoro didn't have one, right? Luffy kind of had one, but he didn't have the biggest one, right? And that's weird because it's the main characters. When you think about Usopp, he didn't really have a send-off. But when you think about Nami, her send-off is actually pretty cool. If she wasn't a thief, right? If you think about Sanji, his send-off was the nicest. But Chopper, Tony frickin' Chopper is the frickin' man. Well, technically not a man, technically a reindeer. It's as if I was setting up for that punchline since the very beginning, right? From the old hag, which is really cool because, again, we're talking about the cherry blossom tree, which was the dream of his master. And it's nice because that was the dream of his master. So since it happened, Chopper is free to go, right? He even forget to do his bag, and she prepared for him. So it's really cool. It's a really nice send off because, again, little fucking cutie ball is crying. I'm crying. The old egg is crying. You're crying. We're all crying. And we got Dalton. And this one's, it's nice because, and we've been seeing that a lot with One Piece. So for example, Orange Town, we pushed, we kicked out Buggy. Arlong Pirates, we kicked out Arlong, and in this one we kicked out Wapol. And you're like, okay, well, guess what? What are we gonna do? But with Drum Island, it's different because Dalton is the de facto leader that we liked, right? So actually, kind of cool. We even see a past Wapol, and what is really really cool here is I don't remember, was that before? No, I was way after we met Vivi. Yeah, that was way after we met Vivi. So we see a young Vivi, and Wapol, a bunch of an asshole he was. It's this scene is actually kind of weird because it is a scene that on the surface it just goes to show how much of an asshole he is. But there's more than that. There's, I'll consider it because he pinches or he pushes. I don't remember. It's been a while because what happened was I thought Netflix was gonna delete One Piece, so I watched 50 episodes from I don't even know, from the end of Arlong to Lockdown to Lapis to Laburi to Whiskey Peak, from Whiskey Peak to Little Garden, from Little Garden to Drum Island to Alabasta. Alright, so kind of crazy. Sorry, to go my favorite game right now. We meet Vivi, and it's to show how much she cares about Alabasta, and it's kind of reassuring because we remember that Drum Island were a choice of either we go to Alabasta and we save the people if we need help right now, or we go to save Nami, right? So it's kind of like, okay, well, back on track. But ultimately speaking, Drum Island is possibly one of my favorite, if not my favorite. Oh, by the way, we played the One Piece Treasure Cruise this morning. And I gotta say, this Whiskey Peak was actually pretty fucking cool. We see Pasquaso, right? We meet Ace, and this is cool because this is the very first mention of Blackbird, right? So, he mentioned that's one thing for Blackbird. So, the coolest thing about Ace is he's a very trusty Marines of Whitebird. I don't remember what he is exactly, but he's a high rank. And Blackbird ends up being one of the main villain in One Piece history. He's like the main bad guy when it comes to pirates. There's my main bad guy when it comes to Marine. His main bad guy when it comes to pirates. It is Blackbeard. Now, ultimately speaking, what we learn is he kills some of his crewmate, which is the biggest sin on the sea. But we see an Ace, right? And it's nice because we know who Ace is. He's the it's like an older brother figure to Luffy. Right. I'm gonna have to read because we watched this last week. I think I play. Yes, yeah, yes. So then we go to Elbasa, and what is really cool here, we know that Crocodile is the main bad guy, and people are like, "Who's Crocodile?" And then I don't remember who explained it, but they talk about the Seven Warlord and how they're supposed to be pirates that are going after young, smaller pirates. So they're basically pirates are getting a carte blanche, which is full credit. We can do whatever you want, and we won't go after you. But you cannot go after the village. You have to go after freaking. You have to go after other pirates, which is kind of cool because instead of they're taking away the job from the government, but it's also it was like civil war, so people kill each other. It is better for the government in itself. We mentioned Croco Plan, right? But the imagine of the episode is when, and it's funny because Kuara, which is the old hag, mentioned Goldie Roger, and she mentioned how Luffy is similar to him, right? And she mentioned the Wheel of D, which I believe is the first time we hear about the Wheel of D, which is actually super important. We don't really know what it is yet. We don't even know what it is yet, and it's been 20 years. And I too, we see Mr. Croco fight. Okay, yeah. So we see him on the. Okay, it's been a while. So we see the Croco fight, right? Which is actually quite important because there's villain, but this fight is to show how strong he is. But it's also to show that he was there before the government, before the royals. And before the royal was there, he seemed like a hero. So I'm gonna spoil you guys. Crocodile plan is to take Alabasta. The first thing he wants to do is to make the king seem like he doesn't care, to create a distance between the public and the royalty, right? And if he's able to do that, people are gonna be like, "Oh, we want Crocodile. He's our hero." That's what he's trying to do right now, right? It's not clearly specified. I think that Croco actually put the bandits here, and it's like, "Yo, bandits are gonna come here, and I'm gonna take care of them," right? So you create a fire, but you also solve the fire, which is actually quite crazy. It's like my nose is blocked up. And we meet Bon Chan. Bon Chan is a very, very, very specific character. It's a character that a lot of us are surprised that we like, but he's a complex character and he's one of the nicest character. But also, he's one of the biggest villain in Alabasta. So Mr. Bonchan has a devil fruit that makes him able to change his face, but he's also really good when it comes to karate, right? Mr. Bonchan, it's because of the relationship that he has with the Straw Hats that is so important. So we see that, we see the Bon Plan, Devil Fruit and Plan with a bandage. So now that we know that it's Devil Fruit and we know that he's a bad guy, we plan with a bandage. So we put a bandage, which we know what it is. There's even an X here to show we're Straw Hats, which is going to be super important in the story after, right? 93, we arrive in Alabasta looking for food. Because again, it's fucking Luffy, right? And it's funny because Luffy and the rest of the team separates. Only Luffy is there. But now, if for the first time in a while, Alabasta is possibly the biggest arc so far. For the first time, we're afraid of our identity. It's not like, oh, we're discovering this world. Like, no, we're here. We have a mission, right? So it's actually quite nice. We hear the drought. We hear the drought that there's no water, there's no food, right? People are scamming already, which is kind of cool because it does show the mentality of the people here. It's every single man for himself, and it's also showing that how corrupted the system is. So in Alabasta, we're supposed to see like the Egyptian pantheon, right? For example, there's one of these guys that's his name is Peel. Can turn into a howl, half a man, half a howl, right? Which is for Horus. There's this guy who can transform into a jackal, which is Anubis. It's actually really, 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 really cool. So we see how bad it is. We see Luffy that's running away. We see that Mr. Tree is there. Remember that Mr. Tree is the wax guy. But it doesn't play an important part, but still we know he's here. Thanks to the weapon of a certain Koza. What? Okay, cool. We heard of the rebellion, right? And we heard about the having weapon and we having a certain character called Koza. So the weapon is because Chopper enters a truck, right? And then he ends up in the resistance. and we say the weapon, and we hear about certain Koza, which is actually super important for it. And now it's kind of cool because they have this almost reunion, and like, oh, you were doing this for Vivi, but how hard this Vivi needs us. So it's nice to see this. 94 already. It went fast. We're good. We meet Ace, who is a great big brother and smoker. Ace, he shines by being himself. He shines by being caring, but he's also really calm and really collected. Now, little spoiler: Ace is a very important character as a son. As he is a son of Goldie Roger, so the last descendant of the Goldie Roger line. That's super important. And the way he acts towards Luffy, he's thanking the Straw Hats, like, yo, thank you for taking care of my brother. That's actually really protective. There's actually a really cool scene where they fight together, right? And they fight back to back, which is really cool. We have Smoker, who's back at it, right? Actually, Smoker has become my favorite marine thanks to the Alabasta arc. It is amazing. Smoker is such a great marine. And once again, now he's on a mission, right? And you can see how good it becomes after this. And it's actually really freaking important. We have back at it, fight woman swordsman. Okay, so we have the lieutenant Tagashi, I don't know. Ace versus Smoker is mentioned. So Ace, he's trying to get time for Luffy, and he goes after Smoker. I'm gonna check out something if I did write it. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's important. Because I didn't want to forget how Smoker, how cool he was. 95. Ace's mention is hunt for Blackbird. He mentioned the Whitebird pirate. It's like, yo, this guy's gonna be the next pirate king. You want to join him? And it's kind of cool because Ace. So it's complicated. Luffy never had a father figure. Ace never had a father figure, and that's why they get so close together. But Whitebeard was a father figure to. Whitebeard was to Ace what Shanks was to Luffy, right? Big time. So with Ace, it's like, yo, he will take care of you. And he wants to protect his brother, but he also wanted to go travel with his brother, which is super cool, right? Ace is sweet. Again, he thanks the crew. Okay, I wrote super sweet. Ace power are sweet. Donut, because again, we know how he ends. Big bounty, constantly hunted, which is really cool because it shows a pirate that we love, and so constantly being hunted because of his bounty. So, for example, right now what we see is Luffy, and we don't really care because his bounty is big but kind of small, versus Ace, or versus a Crocodile, or versus a Nico Robin, which is much higher. But 96, Vivi sent a letter to the king, right, to tell them the Crocodile is the bad guy, right? And it's kind of cool because this is the first time that they talk together. So okay, well, we know Crocodile. The problem is the strikes are kind of late, because even if the king is, that Crocodile is the bad guy, Crocodile is beloved. Crocodile is a hero. Once again, we saw the first episode of Alabasta that there was a criminal that came in. Crocodile showed up, and everybody's like, "Yo, let's go, Crocodile! You're the best. You're the fucking best, right?" So that's also important. With the guys, we learn about the rain powder. Cool. So the rain powder is also super important. The rain powder is actually quite complicated. So it's a drought, right? There's no water. There's one way to remedy to that, and it's rain powder. However, rain powder, what it does is it's absorbing it. So, for example, right? So there's a drought. So the rain powder, what it does is there's multiple clouds, and it's gonna be like a magnet to the clouds. So clouds for other places will come, but it creates droughts to other places. So this place will be good, but the other place next to it won't be good. So it's kind of bad, right? Basically stealing rain. Luffy and his little army, which is super sweet. We know these guys. They're like almost these almost otter but turtle. They're super fucking important, and they follow Luffy as a little army, which comes important after that, which is super sweet. 97, pretty cool episode where we see what it means to be stuck in the desert. So it's pretty good. So we're talking about, again, I'm so sorry. I wish I could make less of a reading, more of a personal, but we're reviewing 30 chapters today. I don't remember 30 chapters. I don't remember 50 chapters. Forget about it. So it's kind of cool that we're seeing that. So we're seeing the mirage. We're seeing what it is to be thirsty, to be in the desert, and it's nice because, as far as I know, there's not another desert island. So this is our one experience in 1,000 chapters. So it's kind of important. 98. So we're going fast. I want to keep this under an hour, and we can post it to YouTube and TikTok in one video. got more fighting between Zoro and Luffy, and now that's funny because Luffy hallucinated, and now Zoro's like, oh, I have to take care of you. I have to once again bring you back to order. So it's less of a fight of Whiskey Peak, which was sucky, more so of like, oh, fucking Luffy again. I gotta get him under control, right? We meet a cool group of Sand Pirates, and the cool thing is because they're pirates, they're friend with Luffy, they're super friendly, but it is Sand Pirates, and it is cool because you learn that the pirates, that the sand, actually unforgiving. There's a lot of creatures in the sand that are really dangerous. Scorpions, crabs. There's really, really bad creature. But once again, it's kind of cool because we just introduced Chopper. And those creature ends up being friendly to Chopper. But if it wasn't for Chopper, they would not be friendly to Straw Hats. So once again, it's a cool way to introduce Chopper and what should we call it? And his capacity to help the group. There's also a really important moment for Chopper in a previous chapter that I did mention. Chopper goes onto the ship and it's like, yo, I want to help. How can I help? And Chopper knows that he's weak, but he wants to help. And then Usopp, actually, weirdly speaking, Usopp is a role model of Chopper. I think Usopp knows that he's weak. So Usopp is like, yo, I'm weak too, don't worry. It's like, do whatever you can, and if you do whatever you can, that's helping us. And then it gives courage to Chopper. It's like, okay, I'll do it, Usopp. And then it sucks because the other crew member, like, you won't be able to do shit. But okay. So they kind of like, dude, versus Usopp who believes, and even if it's only to reassure Chopper, still better, right? Just, and it's kind of cool because when we meet the cool group of Sand Pirates, right? They need lumber, and they send one of the person to help for the lumber. And it's a girl that's winning that show that all their life she waited for the help of the king to save them. This is the Sand Pirate, but they never helped. So once again, it's to show like how much power the king has, but how much he failed his people. And ultimately speaking, why is that important? Is because Crocodile doesn't win the love of people. Crocodile win the love of people because he protects them, but also because the king doesn't do shit. Like, we don't really like you, but we don't like the king, so we're gonna go with you, kind of things. The 99 is focused on the rebellion, right? We right away know, and that's what I like about the narrative. We know that they're the good guys. They're the good guys because they believe that the king is. They feel not only do they feel justified, but they're actually helping. For example, there's this kid, right? And the kid is like, "Yo, I want to join you. I want to join you. I want to join you. I want to join you." It's like, nope, can't. You're too young. And then you remember that Shanks said the same thing to Luffy, and Shanks is a very good character. So you're like, okay, well, these are a good character, right? So they're a good group. However, they're manipulated from Crocodile. And they think that Crocodile is a hero, right? And they're led to believe that the king doesn't care. But once again, the king, and that's actually a powerful narrative of the very first. And why is it so powerful as a narrative is because we show that the king does care. So when the village attack and Crocodile, we fight. So the king sent his man. His man was like, yo, how can we do? What can we do to help? And it was actually good because they were late, but they were still there, right? I wrote the problem that he created himself. I don't know. Also, the rebellions are weak. They're more villagers than warriors, so that's also important to know. Episode 100. It's a really sweet episode where we have young Vivi and young Goza. Yes, being young. It's kind of funny because Goza comes in. So basically, what happened is the king brings the father of Goza or his grandfather to say, "Yo, we need some water." So there's a village next to us where there's rumored to be water. So if you dig in the sand, you'll find some water. The town is called Yuba. And Goza, the son, he's like, "Yo, I'll train you," but then the father brings his son to say, "Can I have my son to help me?" And the son gives shit to the king. He's like, "Oh, you suck. You're not a good king. You don't care. We'll take care of each other. You're not there for us." And then the king, he laughs. And the king is like, "Yo, you got guts. I'm happy that you like Alabasta." Right? And then the kid becomes friend with Vivi. And there's a really sweet friendship because he's the only one that doesn't treat Vivi as a princess. Every single person treats Vivi as this princess, as this person that they're gonna be themselves with, except for Goza. So that's really, really sweet. There's also moments where Goza is like, "Yo, I'm ready to die for you," which something we saw the Straw Hat do. But he's like, "Yo, please don't die for me. Please don't die for me." Right? And then they create the village of water, which is Yuba. 101. The whole episode is a bounty hunter going after Scorpion, going after Ace. So it's super cool. So this is again to show the hardship of Alabasta. Alabasta, it's not clear if they're trying to showcase that they don't have cash or that it's a really hard world to live in. So there's this farmer called Scorpion, and Scorpion has these kids, right? And because he has these kids, now I remember, and because he has these kids, like, yo, we can survive here. But then the kid's like, no, we're gonna become bounty hunter, and Scorpion's like, no, it's too dangerous, right? If I have to, I'll be the bounty hunter. I'll give you cash. So he goes after Ace, and for that he pretend like he beat Blackbeard, which is the reason why Ace went to Alabasta in the first place, right? But then they fight and he tells Ace, I lied, I'm sorry. And it's weird because Ace like, okay, well, no problem. And then he leaves because Blackbeard is not there. Now, what is weird is because Ace is completely opposite of Luffy, which is actually kind of cool because, like, okay, well, they're brother with a complete opposite. But 102, we had the Baroque work Brass meet up, right? So Brass is your top guy. So we know that from the Whiskey Peak, we know that from number 5 and up, they're crazy strong, right? So we see that people from the top 5, the team. So it's basically 10 member of the team. Now, I don't want to be an asshole, but if you see Bleach, and you think about the 10 Arrancar, is the exact same thing. So, little copycats, writer of Bleach, I don't know. I'm just saying. The meetup, we go to the rebellion, right? Possible hideout, which is cool because it's Yuba, but then it's not there. And we realize that no, there's nothing, there's nobody but an old man. And the old man is actually quite important, right? For two reasons. Possibly because he's the first like friendly faces for the triad, but he's also the only one that we see so far that believes in the king. Now the king is a good person, which is rare because so Vivi tells us the king is a good person, but then it's Vivi, it's her father, so of course he's a good person. But everybody that we meet is like, oh, the king betrayed us. But 103, Luffy and Chopper gets lost to end up in a cave. Yes, Luffy and Chopper gets lost in a cave, right? And it's a desert. Now, what is really, really, really cool is, while in the desert, it's like a temple, and you don't know what it is. But if you know One Piece, you know that there's a stone slab, and the stone slab is actually a phonoglyph. Now, phonoglyph are what? Phonoglyphs are super, super important. So this, again, I don't know, I didn't get there, but from what I know are pieces of information, and that information talk about the Void Century. There's a Void Century, which is a whole century where things happen that were horrible, and this is why the world is going where it's going. A lot of things happened in that century that was a prep for the ending of One Piece, and everybody forgot about the Void Century. Everybody forgot except for the phonoglyph. The erase every single trace in history except for the phonoglyph. Now, ultimately speaking, I'm going to give you guys a huge spoiler in a couple episodes, but remember that there's a phonoglyph here. It's written in a language we don't understand. We see Vivi in episode 104. Vivi having problem with her desire to help. And so they reconvince her like, yo, you're good. There's even a part where she's hitting Luffy, and Luffy's like, yo, we're here for you. And it's like Vivi tells, there's no hope. Leave. And no, we're here for you, which is super emotional and super nice, right? And it's funny because Vivi put all on the line. It's not enough, and Luffy just want to help, which is actually quite nice. And they've been friends for a while now. They've been friends since Whiskey Peak, which at this point is like not too much, maybe 20 chapters after, right? And we have the operation like Utopi, where we understand what Crocodile is. Crocodile is, so Vivi thinks that Crocodile is looking for Alabasta to conquer Alabasta, but Crocodile is after one of the so this is actually quite important. After the ultimate weapon, so there's 3 ultimate weapons. There's Pluton, which is the ultimate like ship or cabin. And they have a lot to do with the phonoglyph. They have a lot to do with the Void Century. Their weapon of mass destruction. Their weapon that are, when you have them, you're unbeatable, right? And because of that, what happened is, he's looking for it. And he knows it's in Alabasta, but he doesn't know where it is, right? He wants to create a rebellion, right? Where he pretends he's like going to be the king, and he wants people to rebel. Because then again, it's not clear as to why he wants people to rebel. But it's basically occupied. So basically, he's saying that the only person that knows about the phonoglyph and the ultimate weapon is the king. So he wants the royal army to kind of defeat, to be there and to be busy with the rebellion, so that way he can confront Cobra, which is the king, alone. Summoning the water. Summoning the water, which affect the old man and even use baroque work. Summoning the water, I don't know, remember what that is. I don't remember what that is. I'm sorry. We're gonna fight. We got creation of Gum Gum No Way. Oh yeah, so the old man gives Luffy some water, and he actually is super cool because we know that doesn't have water, and he gives his last reserve to Luffy. It's like, yo, we dig that up, which is not true because he sees Luffy digging up. It's like, yo, you're a good kid. You remind me of my kid when he was younger. You're a hero. Blah 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 blah. But he likes Luffy, so he gives him the water. Right now, Monkey Team. A little bit more, bro. 15 chapter more, and you're done. You already did 15, so that's nothing. We got the creation of the Gum Gum No Way, which is actually super cool because it's funny, first of all, and Usopp's like, oh, give me some water. It's like, Gum Gum No Way, because it's the old man, right? And it's really cool because it shows Luffy, but it's also a kind of like a self-poke at how much time we use the Gum Gum, right? We got the second fight with Smoker, right? And it's so cool because Smoker is actually pretty strong. But then again, with Ace, he's no match. We have just how much the army, the rebel army, inspire people. So we're seeing everybody's like, yo, the rebel army. And there's a very AOT moment where everybody see the rebel army as a hero, but that's a problem because it's the rebel army versus the royal army. So by doing this, by supporting the rebel army, like fuck the royals, which is a clear sign of who is the favorite from the public, and that's important. We got the good, we call that a good leader with a kid, right? And we got the king, and it's super cool because the king know that the leader is Goza, and like Goza. They think that Goza is a good leader, and the people are like, yo, we have to strike the rebellion. It's like, no, we can't strike the people. And then people said, why don't you strike the people, the king? Because what happened basically is before we entered Alabasta, the royal had a lot more warriors than the rebellion, but then it didn't attack, and now it's the opposite. The rebellion and then he said, I can't kill people. Because Alabasta is people. We got 106, which is a great episode, right? We got the Straw Hats captured by a trap set up by Croco. And it's super funny because, holy shit. So we're going back and now we know that the crocodile is in the casino, right? I don't remember how we know that, but I just remember writing because of Pokemon. So if you guys remember, Pokemon, the casino was a hideout. Pokemon Silver, yeah, yes, and it's kind of cool because, we got this. It's super funny. It's like, oh, pirates going this way, and that's this simply a trap to get freaking Luffy, right? But he also capture Smoker, which is super important because we have an explanation of the Sea Stone. Sea Stone, they have the effect of a sea. So if you use a Devil Fruit, and you strike it with it, you'll get completely numb. It's like falling in the water. If you got a Devil Fruit, Sea Stone is your main weapon. So when later on, when Luffy's gonna be in prison, I'm gonna have fucking handcuff. It's gonna be some Water Stone is gonna make sense, right? And Noe's alone. The coolest thing with Croco capturing Smoker is that Smoker is actually a problem because Smoker doesn't believe that Crocodile's a good guy, right? And because he doesn't believe that Crocodile's a good guy, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to tell the government. Now, the government, they like Crocodile because he's one of the 7 warlord, remember? So, like, yeah, if they believe Smoker, I'm fucked, but if they don't believe Smoker, I'm still good, but it's a risk I don't want to take, right? Croco fight between Vivi and Nico. Well, a fight between Vivi and Nico, but it's not even close. There's even the Eagle. The Eagle is whom? The Eagle is Eagle and Nico. She's so strong. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. So I don't know why I wrote that or like that. I'm tired. I'm sorry. So they have this army that Vivi's able to get back, and this army is basically Peel, which is the guy, which is so think about Dalton, think about Chopper, kind of the same kind of fruit, right? And Nico is able to beat the eagle. I think the eagle, but it's a howl. Super simply, just by folding its wing together. So we're seeing that Nico is really, really strong, and she has a really good she has a really good Devil Fruit. Now it's sold at 107. This is crazy, right? So you guys remember that Bonchan was able to change his face. We have Bonchan that disguised himself into the fake king, and all of his announcements are asshole behavior, like, oh, don't go against the royal, and he does everything that he can to rage bait people. He does everything that he can to actually get people to hate the king. But it's not the king. It's only this. And even the worst thing is, the Barak are wearing royal army. So what do you think that is true? And what is the coolest thing, which is absolutely chaos, is Crocodile, which is behind Barak work, gets a plane or a ship that flies. And you make the ship fall, and then the ship has a lot of weapon. Why to do that? Because the rebellion, he wants the rebellion to have weapon. To be able to fight with the royal army. So it's kind of crazy. And a couple episodes ago, before that, we knew that Goza had a problem with the army because he was wasting too much food on food. It was wasting too much money on food. And he couldn't buy enough weapon to launch the attack. So with this new weapon, he has enough weapon to launch the attack. So it's super important. We have 108. We have the Vivi who is giving a chance to save the Straw Hats, which is super cool because they're in the cage, and Crocodile's like, yo, I'm gonna put water, so I'm gonna kill you. And then he takes the key and he tells Vivi, you're able to do two things: either you save the Straw Hats or you stop me. And we know that she's not gonna stop her. So she goes to save the Straw Hats, but then what happened is Crocodile has a pet crocodile, right? And the crocodile is huge, and Vivi will be no match. So it shows the key in there. It's like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? Can I fight a crocodile by myself? In a bad position, right? We got Sanji who calls Crocodile, and it's weird because it doesn't serve a purpose until you know that Sanji calls a crocodile on the same snail of the Mr. Tree that he kept. And just know that the Straw Hats were with him. So if you can find Crocodile, you can find Crocodile, you can find basically the Straw Hats, right? We got 109. We got Sanji who saved the rest of the crew, which is kind of cool because Sanji didn't do much in this one. I don't think Sanji did a lot in Little Garden. I don't think Zoro did a lot in Little Garden. So it's kind of nice to see a good repartition for every single Straw Hats. It's important because we want everybody to do not necessarily the same, but to be acting in a similar fashion. Right, got 109. We got Sanji saved the rest of the crew, and it's kind of funny because we remember that Mr. Number 3, the wax guy, was there because we saw his ship, right? But we haven't seen him. Finally, we know where he is. He ended up being eaten alive from a crocodile. So by Sanji being the crocodile, he saved Mr. 3. Mr. 3 is able to save them, right? And they're able to escape. And Luffy tells Zoro to save Smoker. Now, Luffy telling Zoro to save Smoker is a huge thing. So Zoro, which is the most loyal of the Straw Hats, was like, yo, I know that Luffy cannot swim because Luffy had a devil fruits. Like, if you need help, Luffy, I'm there, I'm gonna save you. But then Luffy tells him, save Smoker. And Zoro doesn't have the certainty that Sanji's gonna save he's gonna save Luffy. He doesn't know if he's gonna be able to save Luffy. He's like, okay, well, I'm saving you. We're saving the enemy, right? Which is actually super important because it does a lot for the story. And Zoro doesn't want to listen, but Luffy insists, right? And it's super cool because the way it affects is Smoker's like, yo, why did you help him? Now Smoker's gonna see. So Smoker's actually a really good character. Smoker is a character is a marine, but there's a part of him that believes that some of the pirates are good. Like he saw Goldie Roger and saw it as a hero and says, "Yo, I want to." It's like Stain in My Hero Academia. There's good pirates. There's bad pirates. I want to stop the bad pirates. Right. Also the bad pirates. Even if you see Tashigi, which is his second hand, she wants weapon, and she wants to collect the weapon, not for herself, but she doesn't want bad pirates to have the weapon. So very, very similar, right? So they go in, and then Smoker wants to attack Luffy, but then he decides to go after Luffy. And then what he said is like, yo, I know that Crocodile was after, so he summoned reinforcement. So instead of capturing Luffy, which is a good pirate, he goes after the bad pirate, which is great from a marine standpoint. Smoker is amazing. That's because of that. Luffy versus Crocodile, right? Once again, we got the battle. It's a good battle, right? But Crocodile is invincible, right? It's invincible. However, so they go into this, and He's invincible, and Crocodile's actually quite nice, actually quite kind versus towards Luffy. He's like, yo, you know that you're not. This is not even your fight. What are you doing here? What are you doing here, right? You can leave. We're not gonna go after you. I just want Alabasta. I'm not gonna go after you. You can leave. I'll let you live. And then Luffy's like, no, I have to help Vivi. It's like, yo, you understand that because if you help Vivi, I want to kill you. And it's like, okay, well, I don't care. Now, why is that important? Because the partner, all Barrapork had partners. All of them had partners. The partner of Crocodile was Mrs. Nico Robin, which is actually quite an important character in the story. For some reason, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, cool. So Nico Robin. Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Yes. Okay, so yes. Smoker tells Luffy about Nico Robin. Nico Robin has this huge bounty, 70 million. It's higher than Luffy. Now, the reason why she has the bounty is actually quite nice, quite simple, but quite nice. The reasons why she has a bounty is because Nico Robin is from a village or from a village where they could read the language of the ancients, right? The government is behind the void century. The government is the bad guy here. And they know that Nico Robin is able to read the phonoglyph, which means that she's able to read the story of the 100th century, the century void, and she's able to tell the truth to the people. That's why they're going after Nico Robin. That's why she has such a high. Not because she's dangerous, but because of that, right? But then Nico Robin was always afraid of everybody because everybody betrayed her. Everybody wanted something from her. Crocodile is using her. And when he's gonna be done using her, he's gonna try to kill her. You're gonna see in a couple episodes. So when Luffy signed up for Nami, for Vivi, Nico's like, oh, he's a good guy. We got Vivi asked Peel to save Luffy. Peel saves Luffy. And then it's kind of cool because Nico's like, why do you guys with the Wheel of D keep on fighting? The Wheel of D is more than just Luffy. There's, like I said, Ace D Portugas. There's Luffy. There's Monkey D Garp, which is also important. Monkey D Dragon. Monkey D Luffy. There's Shuffle D Law. There's Marshall D Tech. There's a lot of people with D. So the family is a Will of D, which is super important that they mention that. We got the 112. Loads are happening. All Baroque work. What? Is it because he forgot? Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I think I'm gonna stop here, guys. I wanna go sleep. Okay. 100%. Let's go sleep. Let's go sleep. Maybe that's longer than video, right? Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. Okay.